Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Generation Old School. If it is your first time passing by the channel, my name is William. And first of all, I want to say thank you to every single one of you guys that saw the last video that I posted. It's got over 38,000 views and more than 500 likes. Many of you guys subscribed to the channel from that video. So I want to thank you and welcome you to the next video. I'm going to show you two other cars that I have for sale. Last video, I showed you the 1950 Chevy Flatline, which already sold. And in this video, I have a 1950 hardtop and a 1952 Chevy Deluxe. So first, let me start by showing you the 1950 hardtop. This car has original paint. I got it from the original family. The car was purchased by one of the executives of General Motors in 1950s, and he purchased it for his wife. At the time, the wife was young, but she had a disability. She was deaf. So for that reason, he decided to purchase the car with two special options. One of them is a power glide transmission for the obvious fact that the lady was deaf and she wasn't able to hear the engine revving in order to put her into gear. And two, as you guys can see, this car does not have a radio. The lady couldn't listen to music, so having a radio back then was an option, so this car didn't come with it. Back in the 1950s, when you wanted one of these cars, especially if it was the convertible, they will sell you this car, the 1950 Chevy hardtop, but instead of welding a roof on top of the car, they will simply put a convertible top. This car, as you guys can see, it has no post, and it was one of the most expensive cars back in the 1950s when this car was new. Back here, it has the handle to roll down the windows. As you guys can see, when you roll them down, they pretty much hide between the two panels of the car, and it looks very, very nice. All the glass in the car is in very good conditions. All the doors close good. Not need to open them and close them again. It has the ring guard. This was used back in the 1950s as an accessory so that people wearing rings wouldn't scratch the paint of the car while opening the door. As you guys can see, all the door panels are original in very good conditions. The dash is extremely well conserved. Like I mentioned, it has the original paint. It has a power glide transmission. So instead of having a 3 on the 3, you have the gears. You can put it into park, neutral, drive, and low. All the gauges in the car work. The glove compartment is there in good conditions as well. Many people put a radio inside. This one obviously doesn't have it. It was owned by an older couple, so they wanted to keep it as original as possible. And the headliner is also in excellent conditions. Back in the 1950s, there were two models of engine, or two type of engines that Chevy was using in this car. For the power glide transmission, like this one, Chevy decided to equip this car with a 235 engine from a 1950 Chevy truck. On the other hand, if you wanted to purchase the 3-speed manual transmission, it will come with a 216 engine. As you guys can see, the car has never been repainted. It shows some patina on the outside of the car, by the corners of the roof, by the top of the fender, and also by the back bumper. The car has zero rust. It's very well conserved. All the chrome is there. It has no leaks. The engine starts right up, and it cruises at 60 or 65 miles an hour because they have the 355 gears, which allows you to cruise faster on the highway. One reason why probably I like this car so much is because back in my country, in Cuba, where I was from originally, this is all we had. Before Fidel Castro took over in 1959, all these cars used to be driven around the streets. People from the United States We'll take him to Cuba in a ferry, drive around the island, and then come back the next weekend. And in Cuba, these cars are very, very common. After Fidel took over, the embargo was set on the island, so no more classic cars now. Normal cars back then were allowed inside the island of Cuba. The next car that we have for sale is a 1952 Chevy Deluxe. This one is the four-door sedan. It's very nice. These cars look gorgeous when you drop them a little bit, 3 inches or 2 inches if you don't want them so low. All the panel in the car is original. It has never been replaced. The car had one repaint back in the early 2000s. It was restored, not a frame off but a frame on restoration, and they did a really good paint job. All the door closed good without any problems. I showed you this car on the last video that I made, so I don't want to take too much time on this video dedicated to this car, since many of you guys probably already saw it. All the chrome on the car is in excellent conditions. It has no rust. The paint, I would say, is a 9 out of 10. All the glass is in great shape. They all roll down completely. These windows pop open, and the car looks very nice when the windows are open like that. All the gauges on this car work: the gas, the fuel gauge, temp, oil, speedometer. The light on the headliner turns on when you open the door. It's very shiny and glossy. No need to slam the doors, it will close right up. This car is equipped with a 216 engine, unlike the 1950 next to it. This one has a 3-speed manual transmission. So like I mentioned earlier, these cars, when they were manual, they came with a 216 instead of a 235. Pretty much the same engine, but the engine block on this one is bigger than this one. Recently we went through the brakes on this car, and everything is perfect. I'm gonna go ahead and start the car. I haven't started the car yet. As you guys can see, I'm able to touch the exhaust manifold without burning myself. There you go. There's no engine noise on the car whatsoever. It has a very desirable front visor. This one also doesn't have a radio. Here's a quick look at the headliner, the back of the car, the back seat. The only thing that was replaced on this car was the carpet. Everything else is still original. It has no rust. That's from rubbing of the shoes coming in and out of the vehicle. And also this here is a little ripped from coming in and out of the vehicle as well. Other than that, there's nothing wrong with the car. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If it is your first time passing by, don't forget to subscribe, give this video a like, and also you can follow us on social media at Generation Old School on Instagram. Thank you, and God bless you all.